What's up, guys, and welcome back to Try Time Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Callum.
And you join us for episode 77, which still feels weird that we're this far on, but, you know, we move.
Yeah, and before we get into it, I'll just say, remember, we have got the competition still ongoing. If you haven't subscribed, after listening to us say this every episode, every video, then please do it now. Once we get to 1,000, we will be giving some stuff away. Like we've said, a rugby shirt for next year. And yeah, subscribe anyway. It don't cost you anything. So yeah, and if you're listening to this, you know, Apple podcasts.
Here comes the come and make a YouTube account pledge.
Yeah, and get all your family. If you know people who have got YouTube, don't necessarily listen, not into it. They might as well subscribe because it gives you an extra chance of winning, doesn't it, at the end of the day? So yeah. I reckon we get straight into it. So a fun week, actually, quite a lot of just natural stuff that's come up, which is good, I guess. Gives us some stuff to talk about. I mean, where do you want to start, I guess?
Yeah, because I mean, I guess we've got the transfer news and we've got the actual on-pitch stuff, both of which are causing interest at the moment. So should we start on the pitch first, I guess?
Yeah.
And things are certainly hotting up in terms of the race for the playoffs now.
Yeah.
I mean, every single time you think you know which way it's going to go, another twist and turn seems to happen as every team wants to seemingly throw it away that's currently in the top six. I mean, what did we have last week? Saints succumbing to another defeat.
Yeah, Saints is the one where they just seem terrible at the minute.
Although Catalan aren't exactly showing fine fettle either.
No, but I think
again suffered another one.
Do you think? I know they're not obviously mathematically safe, but do we have Salford in that sort of they're probably safe camp now?
Well, I think for that we need to get the fixtures up.
Well, I've got theirs up, and they've got KR away, Catalans at home, Hull FC away, and Wigan away. It's only one home game, to be fair. Maybe not then.
And I'll tell you what I think two of those are probably losses. I don't think they beat KR.
Yeah, and Wigan, I assume.
And I think your only chance of beating Wigan is if that League Leaders Shield is decided on the final day before it even starts.
Which, if you're losing to KR, it's probably not because KR will still be up there. So, yeah.
Precisely. So I think if they win in Catalan in 2 weeks' time, I think we then say they're safe.
Yeah.
Or pull off a shock against KR, I think they're safe. I think they need 2 wins out of this, I think. And no disrespect to Hull FC, but I'm kind of counting you as lost that game already.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if other results go their way, then maybe this time next week we could. I mean, we won't be because we've pre-recorded next week's podcast, but you could then potentially say they are safe. You know, if everyone else around them loses and they win, or even if they still lose, it might just make it a bit clearer. But
I love how we started off saying we weren't necessarily going to tell everyone that we've pre-recorded it, but then you've just gone and spat it out.
I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious because no doubt in the next week, I don't know, someone like 5 players or ex-players or someone in the World Rugby League are going to have died in a tragic accident, and where their next podcast, no preempt.
Oh, bloody hell, has Richard Owen been let loose in a car again?
And we'll just be like, oh, welcome back. No, not you this week. We're just going to speak about fucking IMG or whatever we've got. So yeah, but that's beside the point anyway. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think so, but I do think Salford are safe. Personally, I don't see anyone catching them.
Because what have they got? They've got. Is it? I'm trying to think how far in there. Are they 4 in front of Leeds and 3 in front of Leigh?
Yeah.
Because really, they're in the best position. They need everyone to up, and they're 2 clear of Catalan and Saints.
Yeah. So
I guess let's jump into Catalan and St Helens and see how many points we think they're picking up. Let's start with Catalan, given those 2 meet in round 24.
Yeah. So Catalans have got Wigan at home.
Loss.
Salford away.
That's the one it hinges on, I think.
London at home.
Win.
Hull FC away.
Win.
So
I think Catalan could win all 4 of those because actually, as much as Wigan have got players back, I'm seeing things in their camp that they're not overly confident.
Yeah.
Particularly if French isn't fixed. We think he's gone to France, but we don't necessarily know if he's starting at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, well, they've gone already. It's only Tuesday that we're recording.
Well, it's like they're hyping him up for it, so we assume he's on the plane.
All right.
They bought him a ticket and he's posing in playing kit, which suggests he's not far away from returning.
All right, fair enough.
I think it'll be one of those 50-50s. Do you necessarily let him play what's going to be a very physical game? Or do you give him a week off? Bear in mind, without him, they've been a bit hit and miss. Obviously, they were largely played out of the game against Leeds, whereas made a pretty routine win over St Helens. So I don't quite know what I'm going to get in a post-French world.
Yeah.
I mean, if Catalan do somehow beat Wigan, I think that's huge.
Yeah, and that probably puts them in a situation of, given the fact they play London and Hull FC, that they probably would stay in there, which is, maybe a bit, not undeserved, because to get the points you've got to deserve it, but it might come across that way because I don't think they've played well all season. I think they've just ticked on some wins, haven't they, really? Done what Leeds kind of managed not to do, and just won some games that probably just every team should win against the bottom sides.
Yeah, I think part of the problem, like you say, is for the others. They've just ground out results, and they have been very inconsistent. But like at the start of this season, there were games where they looked immense and on top of the world, and there were others where they looked shaky as to whether they'd even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Fortunately for them, those shaky games have, for the most part, come against teams that've had enough raw talent to get past.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess for some of the other teams on there, they've not quite been so lucky. But yeah, like I said, I think if you beat Wigan, I think you're in a great position, and I think that probably saves them.
Yeah, I also think
they probably need 2 wins. I think 3 wins to make absolutely certain. And again, that Salford game is massive because they've got the easiest run in. If they're in the 6 with 2 to go, I think they make it.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing for me is like Warrington in 3rd must be hoping Catalans finish 6th because that's got to be probably the easiest possible fixture, I would say. Is Catalans at home in the preliminary semis or whatever you want.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Because I think if Salford
are probably the closest to making it, but they're limping.
I disagree though. Look at Salford's result. Like Salford can beat a team.
Yeah, but it's Huddersfield.
I know, but yeah, I don't know.
That's like beating a bunch of toddlers. I think the only people who come to watch them are the parents because they've got no fans.
I think the difference is Catalans are currently above the 6. Catalans finished 6th. They've got to have lost some games and not be in that form. If Leeds make it, they've won some games that they probably wouldn't have been expected to win, which we'll come on to. So Warrington probably, I'm just assuming Warrington finished 3rd.
We go to the team that I think are in the most danger of dropping out here, and this is St Helens, which is a crazy thing to be saying.
Although I will run through the fixtures, which might change your mind. So we've got...
Oh, I've seen them. This doesn't change my mind.
Yeah, but listeners might not have done, so I will read them out. So we've got Huddersfield away, Warrington away.
Loss.
Castleford at home, Lee away. So the Lee away is a biggie there.
So Lee away is going to, I think, decide who gets playoffs and who doesn't.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lose to Warrington, and I don't see them beating both Cass and Huddersfield.
Right.
I think there is potentially just 1 win in that, which if they only get 1, I think they drop out. If they get 2, they've probably got just enough.
Right.
Because then you're relying on Lee winning 3, and obviously one of those is going to be against St Helens, so it doesn't leave much room for them to slip up anywhere.
Yeah, I can imagine. I see that. I'm just looking to see what date week it is. The 20th. I don't even know what the 20th. What date week will that be? I'm assuming it's like a Friday night game. You mean Friday night?
The next month is Friday night.
Yeah, Lee Sports Village, Friday night in an almost final type atmosphere is going to be a tough place for Saints to go and get anything out of.
Especially if this is actually going to decide who makes the playoffs, because Lee will be up for it.
Yeah.
And Saints, whilst I'm sure will also raise the game, they've not really raised it that high without their star players this year. And if they're not all back, it starts to get a bit worrying.
No, it does. I think it's one of them for Saints where it's like, if you don't have these star players back come playoff time, is there any point even being in playoffs? Because they're just going to get absolutely done in round one, aren't they?
Well, I guess that I was just going to say that is the other point here, because
it's one of them really where if they're not going to be back, for Saints fans, if you miss out on playoffs or if you scrape in playoffs just on points difference or something, like it's a bit shit. You're not gonna. If it comes to that point, you're not gonna win a game at playoffs because the top three is clear. So if you end up with Warrington, you're absolutely done for, as I think we'll find in a couple of weeks. But
yeah,
and Salford or whoever ends up finishing fourth, I think would be confident of beating them really, unless they can get players back for playoffs, obviously,
which I guess this is where I think as well, if you're a Saints fan, what's almost the more embarrassing. Would you rather not miss out on playoffs in a season where you've had a lot of injuries and kind of can get your excuses banked up? Or would you rather be on the end of a drubbing in round one where actually probably more people are going to call that out as being a poor performance?
Yeah, because it's on a bigger stage. Like more people are going to tune into like we speak about it. It's a regular conversation over the season for us. Is like what games we watch and how much Super League we actually watch, and how do we get viewers and people from the public to watch Super League. If it's just a random night and they've over the course of like a couple of months being shit, no one's really going to say oh. Whereas how many people are going to make sure they're watching? It's playoff time. The viewing numbers, I don't have the exact figures, but they've got to be up. More people are watching it.
Well, and also there's less games played concurrently because all the guys who would have been watching Castleford, those kind of teams that haven't made it, are probably just going to tune into the finals and see what's actually going on and where they want to be.
No, exactly. Yeah. So I think it'll be, the only thing, and then as well, there's less. I assume it's, they're never going to have the two because in that it'll be like a quarter final. They're never going to have them two games overlapping, are they? They're going to be. It's going to be like one Thursday, one Friday, I assume.
You or I would suspect not, but this is, of course, the world of rugby league, so anything goes.
Yeah, but I think so that they should get good numbers, and the thing with Saints is we've said this for a while now. In any sort of game you do fancy them, if it all clicks and they get players back, they're a danger to anyone out there. Really, we know this. I mean, they beat Wigan earlier on in the season anyway, didn't they? In the Good Friday game.
They did, yeah. I would say with everyone back, Saints are a threat.
Yeah.
Without everyone back, it's like a pussycat instead of a lion.
Yeah.
It is right. Like, you know exactly what I mean.
No, yeah, you just don't have that same bite about them, that match-winning ability, do you know what I mean? Like other Jack Wellsby. I feel like you put Jack Wellsby in literally... You could put Jack Wellsby in fucking Cornwall team and you'd be like, they're definitely going to do something. Like, they're going to at least score a try out there. Like, he could make any team tick. Get him in bloody Yorkshire Men's League and he'd be sort of, making, like, changing games. And which is probably not the best analogy, actually, because he should do because he's a Super League level international player. But, yeah. You could put him in
all the technicalities of your weird analogy.
No, my point was, you could put him in, like, a Yorkshire, bloody amateur team against a Super League team, and you'd be like, you won't bet against them scoring or something magic coming from him. Like, he's got that ability to change a game on his own, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no. Don't worry, I got it as much as it was.
I went around houses a bit, mate, but I knew what I was
just a little bit.
But should we go on to Lee now, then?
I mean, it makes sense to move on to the chasing pack, and they are the team in pole position, of course, to do that chasing.
Well, they're only 1 point off of Saints and Catalan. So it is literally this time next week. It could be Lee are in there and one of Catalans or Saints.
Oh, definitely.
So I mean, Lee this week at home to Warrington. They've got Cass away, Hull KR at home, and St Helens at home, which we've spoke about how big of a game that is.
So I think this is on paper one of the toughest run-ins.
But I think I would not bet against them beating Warrington this week. With a couple of knocks and injuries, no Dufty for Warrington. At Lee, I think Lee Sports Village is one of them grounds where, like, quietly, it's a tough place to go, especially, I think it is.
I think I'm still just about second Warrington on that one, but yes, I think it will be an interesting game.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be. I won't bet against Lee necessarily. I think they've got something to play for. Warrington, to a degree, haven't, because I don't see them getting league leaders shield now, and I think they're pretty much set in third. I'd be very surprised if they finish. I mean, they literally pretty much can't finish any lower than third.
They can't finish lower, but I also don't think they've ruled out
the top
possibility of being higher. And obviously, if they do have desires to go up further, then what would be worse for them? One of Hull KR and Wigan slipping up somewhere and them not being there to capitalise. That would be coming back.
That's the thing, because Warrington have got the easiest run of fixtures out of the top three, because we've already gone through how Wigan and KR are playing against a lot of these teams in this little lower playoff battle.
And of course, there's another one that we've not even mentioned yet that both those teams are playing.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Warrington, they play Lee and St Helens, but then it's Huddersfield and London. So, yeah, maybe
Warrington,
right,
I think, is potentially 4 out of 4 there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Lee, it's a tough run in, but the fact they're only a point off, I don't know. I feel like that game against Saints is going to be massive. I see that being a game that they could both still be in with a shout, and it might even be one of them I could see where Leeds are still in with a shout as well, and they're like a world where Leeds are relying on that going to Golden Point and no one getting a drop goal in Golden Point, so that ends a draw, so Leeds can finish a point higher than them or something. I don't know, but I can see something like that coming into fruition.
And suddenly that Brodie Croft kick against London to win it at Headingley starts to get even more valuable.
Yeah, but I think it's really going to be an exciting finish. And I mean, we can go on to Leeds now as well, who obviously is your team. You got London away, which
I'm win.
Right, yeah. FC at home.
Win.
Which, before we got onto the last two, which obviously are very tough games.
So I think we're potentially in the 6 at this point.
That's what I mean. Compared to the other fixtures, you've got the easier 2. Some of them have got the easier second 2. So I think you're going to really apply some pressure here. But I think that's good for you, because if you're 5th or 6th with these 2 games left, yes, you've got Wigan away and Hull KR away with the top 2 teams in the league. But you've got some sort of momentum and you're there. You've got something to lose. You're not, if you lose...
I'm about to drop one of the most controversial opinions on this podcast.
Go on.
Not only are we going to cost Hull KR the league leaders, we're going to make them finish 3rd.
Wow.
Warrington will pip them on the final day.
Last week's pod, we had all Hull KR fans not kicking off, but there were some conversations in comment section around KR and some of the stuff we were saying and everything, and it were all well mannered and everything like that. But I don't want them coming for us again. I love the interaction, but it's you every time as well. You just get shit from them. It's like Huddersfield with me. I don't get it.
Right. As much as I say this, I still think KR will make the grand final.
Right. Interesting.
But I don't see them winning the league. I want them to. Obviously not at the expense of my own team getting in the playoffs. But I think if it comes down to that final night in Hull, I think Brad Arthur's going to know how to fire them up. I mean, he got a fledgling Parramatta side to a grand final when they were not in the top 2 that year. And I think the following season they finished, 10th or something stupid. I think they missed the finals completely. You've then got Hull KR, who's probably the 2 biggest games in the club's recent history, both being at Wembley, choked. Firstly, failing to get off the mark, and secondly,
I mean, the second one were a bit
conking out after 80 minutes against a newly promoted side.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my bold take around this is, I actually think if Leeds make the playoffs, which is the 3 points out of there at minute,
I don't know if we make it, to be fair.
Are you 3 or are you 2 points out of there? Sorry.
We're 2 points out at the moment.
And your points difference is a bit worse than other teams. But I think if you do make it, which I could see you winning these 4 games under Arthur, I genuinely think you get to the grand final. I just can't see how, I mean, and that might happen. You might knock KR down to 3rd. Wait, if you come 6th and knock KR down to 3rd, you play KR next week at KR again.
Yes.
You realise? So
I don't think lightning strikes twice.
Yeah, and then they do you reckon? I could see that.
I think they get revenge then.
That'd be quite good. I kind of like that to happen, I think.
But then I don't know, because the danger is here, Leeds finish 5th, and we all know what happens then.
I kind of wish, if I was to say what my dream semi-final lineup would be, is just from a pure viewership standpoint. We know sort of horse in the race necessarily. I'd love for it to be like Wigan, Leeds, Warrington, KR as the 2 semi-finals. I think that'd be really good. So I think obviously Leeds having some sort of psychological edge over beating Wigan already. Obviously we don't know what's happening in this other game you're going to play, but I think that'd be, especially if you beat Wigan this time and then go there again in playoff semi-final, and the pressure on Wigan to sort of live up to this expectation that they've now got. And then Warrington KR, because we're getting one of the teams in the grand final guaranteed who hasn't won it yet. And both teams are looking good and genuinely like one of them could win it. Obviously, that'd be my dream grand final, Warrington KR. But I can't see that somehow.
I mean, I'd be happy for KR to get there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
I'm not as sold on the whole Warrington thing, because I can't really face the fact that we're going to lose our jokes if it's their year.
But how fucking funny would it be? And I like Warrington, by the way, as a club, and the fan base. Warrington have got some of the best fans in the fucking game, to be fair. So I'm nothing against them, but for the joke, if they made it to the grand final against KR, so you're guaranteed a new team wins it, and the fucking lost to KR in that final, that would be next level, mate. That's what you got to think. I mean, I should want Wigan to win it, because this is keeping Bradford relevant, the fact that no fucker else has won this title. So,
I mean, obviously, if I take the bias out of this, I probably want to see a new team win it. I think we need someone else.
Yeah, I agree. Even though, obviously, like I'm saying, jokingly,
now
Bradford a bit relevant.
Obviously, I don't think it's going to be Saints this year, and after their 4 in a row, I think we do a period where we can get a bit more. It becomes a novelty again. Obviously, Wigan have arguably got the super team heading into the start of this year, and if that falls short, then I think everyone bar the Wigan fans are probably going to love the fact that for all the big names and the star power, they've still not done it.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that's fair. I think this is the biggest chance of an upset. Don't get me wrong, we've had Cass winning league leads, and still no one thought they were going to win that grand final. I'm not even going to lie.
Well, I think they did until Hardaker's nose entered the equation.
Yeah, but that going into it, Leeds were the favourites of that, because obviously we knew about Hardaker.
Yeah.
But then even we've had Catalans in there.
I still find it ironic that he was technically drug banned for a semi-final that he played in, because the backdated the ban after he'd already played. So
yeah.
Don't know. It's going to be DQ for that.
It were a fucking farce, all that shit, man.
It was stupid.
But yeah, I think we've had Catalans and we've had Salford in there recently.
I've got it.
And they just never felt like winning, did they? Go on.
Lee are getting to the grand final, and Hardaker's going to get suspended.
Fucking hell. They're probably better without him, to be honest. I mean, he's not like...
If this is some twisted world where it's a Leeds versus Lee grand final and Hardaker's suspended, isn't it? And then it's like, oh God, lightning strikes twice.
I mean, that would be funny, but I don't think they'd miss him like they did. But I mean, he was probably Cassie's. I don't think he was the best player, but he was one of the most important. He's probably one of the best players. I know Gale won Man of Steel, but
yeah, McShane was arguably in his prime then. But so in terms of the backs who actually
structurally
that time,
because it meant the move needed who was
crucial.
Yeah.
And let's just say you notice the difference between him and Greg Eden, for example.
And now that has inadvertently let Darryl Powell's got some fucking next level PTSD that he's had to make sure he's got 2 first choice fucking fullbacks next year. for Wakey in Super League. So
Wakefield, of course, who have executed an immediate effect signing outside of the transfer window, which I know got your mystery and intrigue very much on edge.
Yeah, I mean, I messaged you all like, how were they allowed to do this? Because mostly because it's going to fuck Bradford over. So I'm like,
I came at you with an actual logical explanation,
which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, but can they not announce? Like, I mean, I'll let you tell the viewers what your.
So in terms of my theory and all this, and we're going to go back to our good old friends in the footballing world for the perfect analogy of David De Gea's dodgy fax machine. So as anyone who followed football around the early 2010s will remember, he was supposed to move to Real Madrid. However, the fax machine didn't print out in time, so his registration wasn't complete before deadline. And that was kind of the key part there, the registration. The window can close and signings made announced afterwards because the relevant papers have been filed. Now, what I think's likely happened here is with his current injury, the deal has been done and he's been registered to sign for Wakefield till the end of the season, and then potentially beyond when his contract's up anyway. What that doesn't state is that Wakefield have to have announced his signing by the close of the window. And obviously, with him being injured, he could have been contracted to Wakefield doing his rehab wherever, and nobody would have suspected anything because he's not due to be on a rugby pitch anyway.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we know from Cam Scott's Twitter beef with the Hull FC fans that his injury is not an 8-month layoff and he's due back before the end of the season. That is probably coming up to fruition, given we've got 4 weeks of regular Super League left. It's now we're going to see him on a pitch again, and that's conveniently going to be in a Wakefield shirt in the matter of the next 2 weeks. So now they announce him.
It's not going to be in 2 weeks. This is the one thing why I get you off what you're saying, but the one thing that makes me think that can't be the case is that it says, look out for him in a Wakefield shirt after the conclusion of Hull FC's season. It does say that on their post. So that means he can't play for Wakey till, I guess.
Well, have they signed him immediately then is the question.
Because it says, basically, he's not going to be able to play until the last game of the championship season. Wakey have already won the league leaders, by the way.
That's what you're thinking they're getting at.
So he's only going to play 3 games this year for Wakey, max.
So I think I know what's happened.
Go on, a new theory.
I think all that's happened is basically been loaned back until the season end.
What, to Hull FC?
Yeah.
Maybe. Why are they not saying this? I mean, they might be doing it now, to be honest, whilst we're on here, but...
I mean, you're saying this. I've seen a post on Wakefield that says Trueman signed. You're the one who's giving me all the backing here.
Yeah. Oh no, that's just what the post says, and no one's like picking up on it. And I'm like, are we being serious right now? Like, it just seems a bit.
Well, we've either got one of two things happened. Either he's been registered and has loaned back, and that's how both clubs have agreed to word it. Because I don't know if we've had anything from Hull on his departure yet.
To be fair, I haven't read the full article.
Or equally, they've registered him to sign with an effective date in the future, and that somehow gets around the rules.
So I should have read the article. Excellent. This is me just reading the headline and why is no one mentioning this? The deal was done prior to the transfer deadline, with an agreement being put in place that sees Trueman remain at Hull FC until the completion of the Super League side's fixtures. I'm not being funny.
That is been signed and loaned back.
That is fucking work. That's bollocks, man. All right, well, fucking hell. Well, London aren't going to get fucking playoffs, are they? Oh, well, can we sign? Well, you know what? Give us fucking Campagnolo and we'll fucking leave you in back till the end of the season. Then can we just have borrowing for a few games in playoffs? That is bollocks, though. That is, come on, mate. That's some fucking work.
It's bending the rules to a T, but what they've done is kind of quite genius.
It's like,
I respect the hustle, even if I don't necessarily agree with it.
It's bollocks, man. It's fucking stupid. We could have done that to any team. Huddersfield, we've already had half the team this year. Can we not have them now, then? Can we not fucking have, could we not...
You've got room on salary cap now. You've paid for bloody Jaden Ockenbar and his school.
Oh, it's bollocks. It's going to screw us. I can tell Jake Trueman scoring against his hometown club. We fucking brought him through, and he's going to score fucking winning £1 million game against us.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, they'll do 50 on us, so it won't be like he's only,
Oh, Trueman hat-trick against Bradford on last game. That would be funny.
It is bollocks, though, mate. Come on.
We've got to go to that. I'm going to be pissing myself.
Look, Bradford in like Championship Grand Final, obviously, if we go into it. But
well, I mean, you're assuming there. I'm not even convinced about that, the way that you game managed the last match. But
no, we're all right last match, to be honest.
Well, by the time this comes out, you've had Dewsbury at home, so you bloody better be all right. Otherwise, that is shameful.
Well, no, to be fair, time this comes out, we haven't had Dewsbury at home yet. We're about to have Dewsbury at home. But
yeah, this is going out tomorrow as we're recording it, isn't it?
So, before we go on to Championship, we probably should touch on the other bit of transfer news in Super League, which is Kyle Feldt. It was announced that he was leaving the Cowboys, isn't it?
Yeah, North Queensland.
Yeah. And there were a lot of speculation. I saw Lee fans wanting him. We had a bit
We speculated ourselves, didn't we? And we thought K-Arm potentially as the kind of Ryan Hall / Niall Evalds replacement, with Evalds kind of now playing fullback because it turns out Hickey is shit as a fullback, which we could have told you about 8 months ago. When obviously Opicic leaving, they've got that quota space, but obviously KR clearly have something else in mind because he's gone for St. Helens.
Yeah, which again also makes sense, to be fair.
It doesn't. Because St. Helens arguably need 2 wingers.
Yeah.
Because I think we can agree that Ritson is probably slightly out of his depth at this level.
I think Ritson's a fine third choice Super League winger, but it's like the whole problem is probably so is Bennison.
Probably so is half the other academy wingers.
Yeah,
that's the other problem at St. Helens. For me, Ritson is a fine cover winger at somewhere that maybe doesn't have a prolific academy, like Castleford, for example, or your backup at Lee.
Yeah.
Not St. Helens.
Nah, I would agree on that.
And likewise, we've already said Bennison's the sort of player that once the academy novelty wears off, will probably end up dropping to the lower Super League than Championship club.
Yeah, I mean, T. Ritson's one of them players where if you told me tomorrow he was signing for Bradford for next year, I'd be fucking buzzing. But I can understand how he would. Like, he doesn't fill you with hope for Super League. He was always great in Championship, and he's
not at top level Super League at least.
Defensively, not good enough. That's the top end.
I mean, I think you kind of look at what Leeds tried to do under Owen Smith that season, where they signed every bloody Championship player under the age of about 20. And how many of them have actually proved good enough? I mean, Hooley's gone to Castleford and been ousted as first choice there.
And he just
wanting to be first choice at Leeds and then being like, no. You've got Louis Roberts, who hasn't played a game in like 6 months nearly. Obviously was played out of position all the time because he's very much adamantly a centre, say his family. And I mean, he got a concussion and hasn't been seen since other than the further reserves. So I think that says a lot about that he will be departing at the end of his deal this year. And then who else was the Ruin, who's currently on loan at Hull FC, having played at every other bloody club under the sun, but probably the only one who's got half a chance of becoming a squad player at Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it, really, with that type of player, because I never get the Hooley. I don't necessarily get the Hooley hype, personally, but I mean, that's a separate thing. We have to go into that. But I guess...
I think the problem is he's solid, but then he's also not... At Super League level, he's probably not got that instance back. Close to the line, he can find a gap and get over really well. He's a good attacking fullback for that. And he's not terrible under the high ball by any means. I just think he's big. The thing you lack with him that you get from the likes of Tex Hoy and Lockie Miller and those kind of players are those striking from deeps where he just simply doesn't have the pace.
Yeah.
Which is a direct result, kind of limits him to only playing fullback because you couldn't throw him on a wing because he's not quick enough.
Yeah.
He's not a versatile player. He's not really got the kicking game to slot in at 6. You look at your Jack Wellesby's, for example, who can play a multitude of positions, field, French. And I know we're talking the very elite of Super League there, but I guess you've got your likes of Hoy that have played fullback and halves. You could shove Miller at 6 in an emergency.
Yeah.
They offer you something more than one, but Hardacre, another prime example, who's played every bloody position under the sun.
No, I mean, yeah, I think
he always finds his ways to white line wherever you play him.
But yeah, I guess because we've got side shot there, is Kyle Feldt going to be good for Saints?
I don't know. It's got David Fussy Tua written all over it, I fear.
I don't know. I
don't think he's going to have the injuries, but I also think, I mean, you look at Down Under, everyone's saying the world's slowest winger, all this. Don't get me wrong, he's better than Wacker Blake defensively.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be solid. Like, he's just going to do a job. Like,
I don't think he's going to set the world alight. I'm not expecting like a 24 try seat debut season or anything spectacular like that.
No. But I think, yeah.
I think it's interesting. And also, I guess, in terms of the rumour mill of another ageing NRL back on their way to Super League is Jordan Rapiner.
Yeah.
And where he might fit in / would he be better or worse than Feldt? Because I mean, obviously Leeds are linked, but that feels quite lazy journalism given that they've already got Ryan Hall in. It sounds like Hanley's still planning on seeing out the rest of his deal and sticking around. You've got the likes of Edgell and Lum coming through. I don't see where Rapiner at 35 fits into this plan.
No, I
think not this coming season. If you're not signed Hall, I'd get it.
Yeah.
But
it's a quarter spot you don't need to use, isn't it?
Well, you freed up that one from getting rid of Fussy Tua. So why are you then getting it on another aging winger? And I suppose as well, like Kyle Feldt is 32. Like it's not
like stupid old.
He's at the tail end of his career, but he's not like going to be washed up in a season. Like he could potentially have 2 or 3 very good seasons at Saints before he's then got that decision of does he retire at a reasonable club level or does he then do an extra couple of years by maybe dropping down a bit further in the Super League?
Or to Championship, like upper Championship sort.
I don't know if I ever see him going Championship. I don't think he'd ever leave the top flight.
Right.
Now, whether he'd do a bit like Joe Monaghan did and kind of extend his career at Castleford, albeit ironically that came when Castleford were on a high. But, one of those clubs you maybe don't expect, like Huddersfield, for example.
Yeah.
They're the sort of club that probably throw the money at him.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Whereas, obviously, Rapiner is, he's just turned 35. I can't imagine as much longevity in that, as much as he's clearly kept himself in very good shape to playing first grade NRL at that age.
Yeah, I think Rapiner, I could see him coming over, but I don't think he'd go to Saints necessarily. But all Leeds, really, I think I could see him like.
Is that the KR boy potentially that we're missing here? Because they obviously took a punt on Kenny Dowell at the tail end of his career.
And that paid
off.
And
they've obviously given Jared Warrior-Hargreaves a go, again, at quite a ripe old age.
Maybe.
Because
that might be announced, it'll be announced like an hour before this goes out, something stupid.
Yeah, because Warrior-Hargreaves is a few months old, he's also 35. So they clearly love a tail end Aussie. And we're saying, obviously, they've got that gap to fill from Ryan Hall going.
Maybe.
This is where we find out if we've got secret inside information.
Or
is he Hull FC's next big Aussie import? Pele didn't work, so let's try someone who's a bit more proven track record. Because that also would be a very good signing for FC.
Yeah, but... Yeah. Maybe so.
Really, they've kind of got a winger problem for next year. Because I think Lewis Martin's almost guaranteed to be given one of the shirts. They don't seem that hot on Tyndall. McIntosh has gone. They seem to want to use Briscoe in the centres, which I don't think works as well, but...
Yeah.
So who's having the other wing shirt?
Yeah, because, it's interesting.
Because obviously they've been playing a couple of kids out there, but they don't seem as far on as Martin is at this point. So it seems.
Oh well, Martin's barely a bloody kid at this point, is he really?
I mean,
he's been around a couple of years now, and
I'm going to say he's got plenty of experience under his belt for his age. But there you go. Maybe Rapinoe's going to turn up in Hull on one side of the city or another.
Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, should we move on to Championship now, do
we should do, because otherwise we're going to go through every bloody club he could sign for, because what's next is a new Nofaluma.
Yeah, because that worked out so well for him, didn't it?
Well, I'm going to say what a disaster. Do you know what? From the Tri-Time Awards, when we do those in the season, that might be an early shout for flop of the year.
Really? You're not going to pick one at Hull FC boys who's now playing in Championship?
There will be several nominations. I've already got my first award lined up, by the way.
Have you?
So we're already starting to think about these. We've got Pudding of the Season already nominated.
Pudding of the Season?
Yeah.
Jordan Abdul?
No.
Parsley.
I'm not going to reveal it on camera, but no.
All right. So Championship. So whilst we're getting into that, I guess we'll start with the news out of Sheffield this week, which I know you've not heard much about, so it's kind of almost news to you at the same time. But this is from the game caller, obviously Mick Gledhill.
Everyone's best mate after his comments about the week. So take this with a pinch of salt. It might be made up.
The ongoing investigation by the Rugby Football League concerning a serious medical compliance matter at the Sheffield Eagles, which resulted in head coach Mark Aston and physio Mick Hayes being called to face an operational rules tribunal, is not expected to be heard until after the current season has finished. Simon Brown and Keith Senior are currently coaching the side after the Sheffield club suspended Mark Aston, Mr. Sheffield, by the way, and Mick Hayes from their duties on a no-fault basis until the operational rules tribunal has taken place. Sheffield have lost their last 3 games and face Toulouse, Bradford, Featherstone and York in their next 4 fixtures. Ouch.
I'm going to say I could see them losing all of those, to be honest.
Yeah. With Widnes, Featherstone and York all making ground on the South Yorkshire club.
I mean, we probably don't need his bloody narrative.
They certainly look vulnerable.
Do you know what I find more ironic about this? Sheffield have had an allegation made, which sounds relatively serious based on that information, and they have done the responsible thing as a club. They've acted, they've suspended pending an investigation, and will come to an adjudication shortly. How's Mr. Killshaw getting on?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. That was my first thought, to be fair.
Just so we're keeping it relatively out there that Swinton have not yet responded to those allegations, other than saying they're getting solicitors involved.
Yeah, and no doubt that won't be heard until after the season as well. So it's
there's not even an acknowledgement of that from Swinton. So
no, and Sheffield are a team who are on the playoff push, and they've suspended the coach who, let's be fair, I can't remember last time Mark Aston won Sheffield coach.
Were we born? Did we have this discussion other pod and found like 98 or something stupid when you were first?
Yeah, it's definitely not that far back, but it is far back. Like Mr. Sheffield, isn't it, basically?
Well, I'm going to say it's like no Aston, no Eagles at this point, but
he coached Sheffield Eagles, or he was involved in the coaching
99. It was
99 to 05, which was he was involved in the coaching setup. I don't think he was like the head coach.
No, I'm going to say I knew I'd looked at it, and it was before we were born.
Yeah. It's wow.
Yeah, player coach in 99 after the merger with Huddersfield, which clearly went well. Can tell which side has bigger fans.
So he actually co-founded. Oh, wow.
So he is legitimately Mr. Sheffield.
So he co-founded a club that have now suspended him.
Yes. But that says a lot about the morals of that club and how they actually, in the event of something serious, they're going to get to the bottom with it. Because a no-fault basis suspension is the exact way to go about this. Because he's not guilty until he's proven guilty. But at the same time, so either way, they're covered. If he's guilty, they've suspended him pending the investigation, have done things properly. If he's innocent and cleared, or there's not enough to actually deem him guilty, whichever one of those two, it was always a no-fault suspension.
Yeah.
So that is Sheffield handling things in a proper and correct manner. So fair play to them for that.
Yeah, but they are vulnerable at the minute in terms of fixture-wise.
Oh, they're more vulnerable than an Australian 16-year-old around an unnamed, unconfirmed, alleged winger.
Christ. So I mean,
I'm covering my ass on that one.
I know. So I guess we'll start with Wakey have won the league leaders. We don't need to speak much on it. We're expected.
We've spoken about you already.
Yeah. And then the interesting part is I'll run through the table quickly to the point of people who aren't going to get in playoffs. So you got Toulouse in second on 27, Bradford in third on 26, Sheffield in fourth on 26, Widnes in fifth on 25, Featherstone in sixth on 24, York in seventh on 22. We've said Batley in eighth are probably the cut-off of where we can't see them making it within these last.
Well, let's touch on them, I guess, come when we look at the bottom of the table and focus on this for now. So, I mean, have you got the run-up on your phone?
I can go through each team's lineup pretty, like, who they've got pretty easily. So should we start Toulouse and just go down?
We might as well, yes. So second place Toulouse, currently a point cleared of the chasing pack.
Toulouse play Sheffield at home.
Win.
Barrow away.
Tough.
Right. Halifax at home.
Win.
Widnes away.
Also tough.
Batley at home.
Win.
Right.
So I think that's vintage Toulouse, win the home games. I think the nature of what's going to be tough there. Widnes is always a bit more awkward because of the pitch.
Yeah.
And Barrow need points.
No, they are some tough
Barrow's a tough place to go anyway, and they're also on a desperate hunt. So that could make that a banana skin and a half.
But I think from them fixtures, unless something madly goes wrong, which it could do, we've seen shocks.
I think 4 wins out of 5 is doable. I think Widnes is the only one I potentially properly question mark.
But I think if all they need to really win is 3 out of 5 to get playoffs, which is, I mean, the 5 points in there from York.
I mean, I'd arguably say that 4 probably gets them through to second, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think that they're...
Oh, I think they're in.
Yeah, they're in pretty much, yeah.
100% they're in.
Then we've got third Bradford, my team, who...
I didn't do anything cringeworthy like this when we talked Leeds.
On paper, we have probably got the easiest running.
Let's go through it. And
it is also Bradford, though, so I know we're shit.
Yeah,
like, don't even need to tell me. Dewsbury at home.
Win.
Fucking hope so.
Dewsbury confirmed bottom of the league. They've beaten one team all season.
Sheffield away.
Knowing your luck, that's when the coaching at Sheffield finally clicks.
Yeah. Batley at home.
Knowing your game management, that's another 1 point Jordan Lilly misses.
And then Halifax away.
Honestly, I think you're going to batter them.
All right, fair enough. And then Swinton at home.
Win. For God's sake, please win. Actually, suggestion here.
Go on.
How about there's some friendly decorations for the Swinton coach put round Odsal when they come to town?
Yeah.
It's just some little doodles of his players with little X's over their eyes. I'm not saying we do the news, that's too far.
Should we do that and get a big cardboard cut out of get some like big cardboard, stick a picture of him on there with crosses on his eyes? Something like try type.
I don't want to be held criminally responsible if he considers it a threat.
Well, he can't have it both ways, you know.
Well, no, he can't, but the eyes of the law are a different matter, I guess.
Yeah, no, but it'd be funny if we relegate him that day.
Oh, I'd love that. Sorry, Swinton fans, because from all I've met of you, you're a good bunch and your club's absolutely disgraced you.
Yeah.
So I do feel a bit sorry for you guys caught in the crossfire, but equally, your club have stood by this and this actions of a tosser, so you frankly deserve all you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at these fixtures, I think Bradford are favourites for all 5 of them games, but it is Bradford and we probably will drop points somewhere.
I mean, yeah, I've watched you choke too many results to say that you're going to win all 5 of those.
But I think if we do win all 5, unless Toulouse do the same, then we have got second. It's annoying because we dropped fucking points against Fev, which we shouldn't have dropped. We dropped a point, even just those singular point that we dropped at Barrow away, which were
Batley. If Jordan Lilly had bothered to kick a penalty or two of his many attempts at drop goals, you're fine. They get one chance and they smash it. York away.
If we had better game management, we'd be second by a country mile.
If you had better game management, Wakefield wouldn't have wrapped the league up yet.
Yeah, probably.
But the reality is you haven't, and that mindset is going to continue to the end of the season, with arguably that pressure to finish second only building.
I think if we want to,
there's more wobbles to come.
I think if we want to have any hope of doing anything, which don't get me wrong, I think Wakey will win grand final. But if you want to have any sort of momentum going into that game, we need to win these last 5 and then get.
Honestly, if you want to have any sort of chance at winning that, you need Gaskell back, because Jordan Lilly's not got the experience at the high enough level to manage games properly.
What about Jared?
And he's playing alongside other halfbacks who simply aren't. Sammett's too off the cuff and exuberant. It's like Rangi Chase from about 10 years ago. There's a brilliant player in there, but Jake Connor. When he's on form and playing for the team, he's great. But he's not the sort of player who's going to grab the game and be like, right, come on, guys, let's do the sensible, basic stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's too hot-headed and thinking, right, what's the next thing I can do? What can we do next? Where's the play? Rather than actually just drill it into touch. There's 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I get you.
And by the time he remembers that, you drill it out into touch to kill time in a game that you're 2 points behind, like Jake Connor.
Right,
just
go through Sheffield.
Let's go through the coachless Sheffield.
So we've got Toulouse away.
Toulouse and Bradford we know about.
Bradford at home, yeah. Fev away.
I mean, we kind of touched on these, didn't we? Fev, York and Widnes, was it?
Yeah.
All the teams.
Fev, York, and then the last game of the season's away at Dewsbury.
Oh, Dewsbury, right. So bar them, everyone else around them, basically.
Yeah. That York game could be massive.
Which is also huge because every single game is not a 2-pointer for them, it's 4.
Yeah. If they win all 4, they probably get second. Well, they are probably second. So.
I'll be honest. I think if they win even one of those, they're in.
It depends, though, because if the one that the win is... Say, for example, if they beat Toulouse are in anyway, so they're not taking a spot off anyone. If York win all their games and beat them, York are in. It's tight.
Yeah, let's see how likely that is first. But I think, to be honest, if Sheffield win even one of those crunch games against your Bradfords, your Yorks, your Feds, they're in.
Interesting.
Because I think the points that they will lose is what's going to cost them.
Now we've got Widnes, who've got an interesting running. We've got Batley away, which is a tough place to go, but
I think they'll lose that.
Really?
Yeah.
Then they've got York at home.
Lose.
Doncaster away.
Lose.
Wait, so are you having... All right, I'm intrigued. This is interesting me. Toulouse at home.
Lose.
And you're going to say last one's at Barrow away. You love a Barrow away shot, don't you?
I think Barrow might be safe at this point and they might get the win.
So you're telling me Widnes are winning one game from the last 5?
Yes.
No, one game.
Sorry, Widnes.
Safe. That's why.
Because I thought you were going to finish much higher at the start of the season. But I think this recent drop in form where you've gone off a cliff is indicative of where the season has gone.
They haven't dropped off form, though.
They have.
They've not really. They lost 2 games. What are you on about? Have you? They've just beat Sheffield.
Every pluck has beaten Sheffield. Nil by. I'll tell you what patch it is. I think it's this loss to Sheffield, loss to Batley, loss to Swinton, the end of June, start of July that's really derailed them.
Yeah, they lost 4 in a row.
I know they've won games since, but what have they won?
They beat Bradford, too.
They beat Dewsbury, which every other sod has. They scraped an away win at Halifax, who every other sod has this season. And they beat Whitehaven, who probably had about 12 people bother to turn up to play for them that day.
Yeah, I'm looking at all this.
The Bradford win at home. That's the last impressive game they really had.
How did we lose that? Looking at these fixtures and who they've beat around that time and stuff.
Because you go even further back. Yes, they beat York away. That's a good result. They held Toulouse pretty close in France. They only drew against Whitehaven. They scraped past Donny. They dropped goal the way at Odsel.
Yeah, I mean, we're going far back there, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, I don't think they've looked properly convincing in terms of the structure of organisation really probably since that Donny result in May.
Yeah.
So I'm aware it's a bit of a U-turn. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're the team in the most... Actually, no, I think they might still scrape past Sheffield.
I think this next team...
Because all they need is 2 wins to do that if we think Sheffield might only beat Dewsbury.
Yeah, I mean...
I think that's the battle for 6th.
I think then you've got Featherstone, who play Barrow at home, win. Swinton away,
win.
Sheffield at home,
win.
Dewsbury at home,
win.
And then York away.
Lose.
Right, but Feather in playoffs, aren't they?
I think Feather.
Well, to be fair to them, they've battled back well. They've probably got the better running actually than Bradford.
Yeah, I think they're on a par.
Actually, no, because they play Sheffield and York, whereas we only play Sheffield out at top.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced that that's the most as difficult as it would have been 4 months ago. But
yeah, maybe not. But anyway, I think Fev. I mean, they're only.
I think Feather in. I think.
But yeah, I think they're there. And then York, who I guess are the one team out who are outside there now. They go to Whitehaven, win.
You'd expect so. I'd be shocked if not.
Well, you've already said Widnes are losing that, so
yeah.
But they've got York are out, mate. Wakey away, Sheffield away, Feather home. They've got tough last 4.
Yeah.
They could either.
I think they can win that. I think they can win that, but the Widnes game. But I don't think they'll beat any of the last 3. Maybe Featherstone, actually. Yeah.
Well, obviously you said Feather losing.
Yeah, I realised that. I don't think they beat Wakefield.
It's going to come out if York really can play and win these teams at end of gap. York are in a position where if they win their games, they're guaranteed in because they're taking points off other teams around.
Which if they're coming in with that kind of form, that's
you don't want to be playing them, do you? Because they'll probably.
And York will love a late season surge. We saw this last year. Except the only difference is this year.
That were a good game. That quarter final at Odsall won it. It wasn't a bad game.
And it really makes you think, doesn't it? When they were still having the bit of the structuring issues and obviously all the hoo-ha regarding Milo at the start of the season when they were the foot of the table, where could that team have been?
Oh, no, definitely.
Because they could have been second easily if they'd have got that together. And you know what? Fair play to Applegarth because he's come in and he's rebuilt his own reputation with solidifying that team. And really working on and building off of the work that Henderson put in, which I don't blame him at all for the start of season slump. I think since moving into that backroom role with a bit more control over the whole rugby side, that's also allowed them to flourish because they've got the right people in.
Yeah, I think they're going to be in a good position next year in the league, going into next season.
And they've not really got many massive star names on big money now that Milo's gone.
No, I think it's interesting looking into next season, which we're obviously going to do multiple pods probably touching on it going into next season. But certain teams in the Championship and this potential closed-door Super League next season, you've got teams like Fev and Sheffield where behind the scenes, we've spoke about Aston now and obviously we know all the trouble and shit at Fev. Can they kind of...
I think Sheffield are okay, actually. I think theirs is kind of just more a personnel matter to solve. They're obviously getting the new stadium. We're not really thinking any financial problems there per se. I don't think they're too bad. They potentially need to get a new coach and some new style, and we'll see a bit of a performance drop off if they end up in a position where Aston leaves. Fair, I guess the financial woes have kind of been papered over for a few seasons now.
Yeah.
It's not the first winding up order they've had. It might well not be the last. We'll have to see with that one, but I think throwing Sheffield in that bucket's a bit harsh. Yeah,
I won't mean it more like the clubs are going to go to shit. I'm just thinking, in comparison, York seem to be really set up for next season in a good, in terms of the back room and stuff like that. Which
I'm conscious we're an hour deep into this and we've not even gotten to the bottom of the Championship yet.
I know. Well, Whitehaven, fucking fair play, we'll say to start off with.
I'll tell you where the best place at the bottom of the championship is Dewsbury last, confirmed.
Yeah.
So what are we saying? We've probably got Batley and Doncaster in 8th and 9th, who probably only really need one more win to secure survival. So let's take them out of it because I think they will get that. Particularly given we're probably going to see a few of those names mentioned in the run-ins of the clubs from, I guess, 14th upwards. Because although we probably know the down and last, shall we look at Dewsbury to see who they're giving some points to before the year's out?
Yeah, so they've got Bradford away, Halifax away, Swinton at home, Featherstone away, Sheffield at home.
So you'd probably say that's a free couple of points for Fax and Swinton there, which I guess we'll touch on more when we get to those. Interesting they don't play either Batley or Doncaster to give them the win that probably survives them.
Yeah. So Swinton, who are the next team up on 14 points. They're 2 points adrift of anyone else, though. So they are the team.
They need a win extra, yeah.
Wakey at home.
Lose.
Featherstone at home.
Lose.
Dewsbury away, we've said they'll beat Dewsbury.
Yeah.
Doncaster at home and Bradford away.
That Doncaster game is going to be massive because if Doncaster don't have anything to play for, they could well win that one.
Yeah, but otherwise, that's tragic.
Otherwise, that's only Dewsbury that looks like you're getting anything from.
If you're one of the teams like Whitehaven above them, you probably only need to win one game to beat.
I'll be honest, you probably only need a point potentially.
Yeah, if they don't beat Donny.
The thing for Whitehaven is their points difference is abysmal compared, so they actually need to outscore Swinton.
Yeah, which ain't going to happen, is it?
Which, considering...
If they land on 30 points, yeah.
Yeah, they need to be actually physically clear. And I think they're next out, so this is probably a good one to touch on.
Yeah, so
especially given we're not sure how many players they're going to have for each game, which is also a concern.
I think let's just say, though, how good is it the fact that they actually are fulfilling these fixtures? Because when there wasn't, it was like Swinton were going to get such a fucking easy pass, like, and so we're going to go on to like Barrow and stuff. They've also would have had an easy pass, like Whitehaven. It's not like they were in Dewsbury's position where they're dead and buried at all. Like
they've really fought and they've got some good results, and through it all, we hope they obviously survive. But if they can hold the championship status while doing so. What a story.
Yeah. They've got York at home, Wakey, which we're saying is lost. We've already kind of gone through that. Mm. Wakey away, we've said loss.
Yeah.
Barrow away, which is the big one. Batley away, which is winnable potentially if Batley have got nothing to play for.
Depending what Batley have done, yeah, that's kind of in that Doncaster boat, I think, albeit I'd rather host Johnny than go to Batley.
And then you've got Halifax at home, which if Halifax are safe, they win that. If that's like the game that they need to win.
If Fax are safe on the last game of the season, which is very much possible.
Yeah, because we'll go on to Fax's fixtures next.
I mean, let's go on to that next, and then we can kind of discuss that as the end point.
So Fax have got Doncaster away, which is a tough place to go. So
yeah.
We've got Dewsbury at home, which we've said to win. Toulouse away, which we've said to loss.
Which I think just quickly dissecting in there, that loss to Doncaster away probably seals their safety and means they have nothing to play for when they play Swinton away.
Yeah, and Doncaster, so it could have ramifications for that. Doncaster at home, like they are, when you played there this past week, like they were good. Some of the names in that team, like they're a good team. They're so experienced. They're the sort of team that I think will beat. I honestly think looking at this, Fax are in trouble.
What I think is potentially an interesting point here is while we've kind of said Batley and Doncaster are out of this a little bit, if Widnes and Sheffield really do fall off a cliff, there is still a 6th spot potentially open with York's running. Now, these are very much rank outsiders, but almost this could go the other way in terms of the ramifications on Swinton. If there's still half a chance they get 6th,
yeah,
they go like hell.
No, potentially, yeah. I think it'd be interesting. But I think the fact it's at Donny, I think Fax lose that.
I think Fax lose that.
Beat Dewsbury. I think the one of these games, I think Fax have got more chance of beating Bradford at the Shade than they do of beating Whitehaven.
Well, I'm not going to lie. If it comes down to that and Fax's survival and we think that's actually going to impact Whitehaven, I would probably want you to lose that game.
Yeah, but it depends on the ramifications there. Like if Bradford are in a position where we're like in second. You've just got to beat Fax and Swinton. Just fucking do it. Like, hopefully we can go there and actually do it. But anyway,
you give Swinton a win on last day to survive, I will never forgive you. We're done.
That's the Bradford way, man.
The Bulls are done. I will let you jiggle your bucket for eternity and not put a penny in.
Now we've got Barrow who are a point away from that. So Barrow are 3 points safe. They've got Fev away, Toulouse at home, Whitehaven at home, Wakey away, Widnes at home. They probably don't win a single game, potentially that Whitehaven game.
So the thing is there, with Swinton having 2 winnable games,
they could
Barrow and Whitehaven starts to become a very tasty affair.
I think in 2 weeks when that's coming around after we assume Barrow lose to Featherstone and Toulouse, then I think it gets real serious where we sort of saying Barrow are back down in this fight now, especially if one of the other teams pick up, which Halifax played Dewsbury in that time. So Halifax...
If Dewsbury pull off a shock result, this is going to be major.
Yeah, we're assuming Dewsbury are fucking like not...
If Dewsbury pick up any points whatsoever, they have massively impacted somebody in their relevant race. They are arguably the most important team here in a way.
Oh yeah,
because any points that they pick up is a massive blow to anybody else. And who's the one team that beat?
Batley.
The team probably that are the least relevant in all of this.
Yeah. And if they hadn't beat Batley would be more relevant in playoff race, to be fair.
That's true, actually. If Batley miss out by a point, that's going to be hilarious. And Dewsbury are the most important team in the league. Oh, God, imagine if they'd have nilled all season.
Yeah.
Jesus. Right, anyway, we did Barrow, didn't we?
So, I guess we should say now, our top 6, because we're going on forever here, but let's just say who's finishing in top 6, who's going down.
Right, so I'm going to say the current top 7 remain the top 7, and I think Sheffield will miss out.
Right, I agree with you on that. I think
Dewsbury are going down because that's confirmed.
Yeah.
And
let me guess, you think Wakey are winning league leaders as well?
Maybe, just about. Yeah, just a hunch. I want Shaw, but then they signed Trueman, so that's definitely skirted it over the edge, I think.
Yeah.
And then who's joining Dewsbury? That's probably the tougher one here. I don't want it to be, but it's probably Whitehaven.
Right.
And it saddens me to say that.
I'm going to say Swinton.
That would be my preferred.
I think Fax would be funny, to be fair, but I think...
Well, actually, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Fax down would be quite amusing, given they were giving it all big when they signed Gareth Widdop, and I said he would be... That's the other flop of the season contender right there.
Well, yeah, I mean...
I called that, didn't I, at the start of the year, that would be one of the worst signings. Because
no, you did, to be fair. Yeah. But I guess that's the championship. I mean, League One news, I mean...
Oh, we've gone on for an hour and 10 minutes. They don't care about League One.
There is David Foggin Johnston. It's come out. He's not played for Keighley all year. Everyone's like, why? No one's cared enough to even investigate it, and it's come out now that he's on a cocaine ban. You know,
that explains why he came to watch Bradford the other week. Then,
yeah. And by the cocaine ban, I mean, when I say he's on a cocaine ban, I mean he's banned from rugby league for cocaine. He's not like banned from having coke. Well, yeah.
I mean, I hope he is that as well.
Yeah.
You know, not just, oh, yeah, I'm on a drugs ban, so I can snort it every day and know what'll happen.
And pretty cool to see that, you know, George Flanagan Sr. playing against George Flanagan Jr. at Keighley against Hunslet. But that's just, I guess, the feel-good story of the week, if you want, you know.
Well, that depends who won.
Well, Keighley, obviously, because...
So he got battered by his own dad. That's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
It's not really a feel-good story, is that? That's just belittling your children.
Is that what the title? What clickbaiting that to domestic abuse in?
Try Time Podcast does parenting advice. Then we'll just Photoshop you on a picture of Super Nanny or something, daft.
Right, but I reckon let's leave it for this week. Like we say, because of my holiday, the next couple of weeks I pre-recorded podcasts.
Yeah, so if you miss anything major, blame him.
Yeah, the good thing is when we come back and it's back to us live here, we'll have, I think, 1 or 2 games left at 2 games left at Super League, 3 games left at Championship. It'll be heating up. All this that we've said today is probably changed, and all results have gone another way. But yeah,
we're well and truly in the pressure cooker then.
Yeah, and then I think I'm excited for like when it's playoff time and proper previewing them playoff games. I think that's when we'll be getting into meaty stuff. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff to come. We've got to, review all of our predictions that we made and how wrong we were and stuff.
Oh, God.
But,
do we have to?
Probably, yeah. And then we'll have the Tri-Time End of Season Awards, which will probably be after the England test, actually, just to...
Yeah, but we've still not booked tickets for, ironically.
No, that's how in demand they are, I guess. But we'll sort that anyway. But
look, priorities, we need to try and sort Oasis first.
Yeah. Oh, God, fuck it. Right.
That's priorities in rugby league world. And on that note, then, I guess that's the story. Morning glory.
Yeah.
Bye.